The rain was relentless, cold, heavy, unforgiving. It hammered the pavement outside Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, turning the parking lot into a shimmering pool of red and blue light from the police cruisers. Yellow tape whipping violently in the wind, snapping like it was trying to escape the scene. I stepped out of my car, coat already soaked, badge cold against my chest. This place was supposed to be full of birthday songs and cheap pizza. Tonight, it was a graveyard. I ducked under the tape. Officers moved quietly, their voices low, their faces pale. No jokes, no chatter. Just the kind of silence that only follows tragedy. "Detective Destrawn," an officer called out. "You're the one they sent?" "Yeah," I muttered. "What happened?" He didn't answer. He just pointed. And that's when I saw her, a little girl, lying near the dumpsters behind the restaurant. Soaked, cold, still. Her small body curled in on itself like she was trying to stay warm. Her fingers stiff, her lips blue, her clothes drenched. She didn't die instantly. She froze, alone, in the rain. A stuffed toy laid beside her, ruined by water, its colors bleeding into the pavement. My stomach twisted. "Name?" I asked quietly. "Charlotte Emily," the officer said. "Owner's daughter." I exhaled slowly. That explained the man sitting on the curb. Henry Emily, hands shaking, eyes empty, rain pouring down his face like tears he couldn't shed. He wasn't talking. He wasn't moving. He was just breaking. But before I approached him, something else caught my eye. Slumped against the back door of the pizzeria, the puppet, a tall, black and white marionette figure, collapsed like it had crawled out of here and died beside her. Its mask stared upward, rain dripping down its painted cheeks like tears. "What the hell is that?" I whispered. "Part of the show," an officer said. "We found it just like that. Looks like it fell." But something about it felt wrong. Like it didn't fall. Like it dragged itself to her. Like it tried. I stepped closer. The puppet's limbs were twisted, stretched, strained, like it had fought against something. Its fingers were pointed toward Charlotte's body, reaching, protecting. Too late. I swallowed hard and walked toward Henry. He didn't look up. He just stared at the ground, hands trembling violently. "Mr. Emily," I said softly. "I'm Detective Destrawn. I'm so sorry for your loss." He didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't move. He just whispered, "I failed her." The building was too quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, the kind that feels staged, forced, like the walls were holding their breath. I stepped inside Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with Henry walking a few feet behind me, his footsteps slow, heavy, and defeated. The smell of stale grease and old carpet clung to the air. Birthday banners still hung from the ceiling. Balloons sagged. A half-eaten cake sat on the table, untouched since the moment everything went wrong. I walked toward the back room, the one the officer said Henry wanted to see me. The door creaked open, and there they were. Two machines, two monsters, two mistakes. Spring Bonnie, pristine, untouched, almost cheerful in its bright colors, and beside it, Spring Fredbear. Its jaw hung unnaturally wide, too wide, far wider than any mascot suit should be able to open. I stepped closer, shining my flashlight along the metal frame. "Henry," I said quietly, "why are these animatronics built like that?" He didn't answer. I crouched beside Spring Bonnie first. "Your Spring Bonnie robot seems normal. No damage, no tampering, no signs of malfunction." I stood up and turned to Spring Fredbear. But this one, I tapped the jaw hinge. It rattled loosely like it had been forced open. "Henry, are you aware how dangerous these things are, especially around kids?" His eyes dropped to the floor. "I know." I exhaled slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. "The autopsy said she was..." I stopped. The words felt too cruel to say out loud. Too cold. Too clinical. Henry's breath hitched. I softened my tone. "Look, all I know is that it wasn't an accident. And right now, the best course of action is to shut this place down." Henry nodded weakly. "I understand." I turned to leave, but something caught my eye. The puppet. It had been bought inside, laid on a table for evidence collection. But now that I was closer, I noticed something I hadn't seen outside. Purple streaks running down its mask. Not paint, not rain, something else. Something that didn't belong. I leaned in. The streaks shimmered faintly under the flashlight, almost like tears. What the hell? But I didn't question it. Not yet. Not here. Not with Henry watching me like a man who already lost everything. I stepped back, letting the thought fade into the background. For now. Henry, I said quietly, go home. Be with your family. I'll handle the rest. He nodded, broken. I walked out of the room, the door closing behind me with a soft click. But as I stepped into the hallway, something made me stop. A sound, soft, faint, barely audible, like a breath, like a whisper, like something in the dark had just woken up. I turned slowly. The hallway was empty, but the puppet's mask was facing the door. And I knew, deep in my chest, that whatever happened tonight wasn't over. Not even close. The workshop was quiet, not peaceful, not calm. Quiet in a way a predator is quiet before it strikes. William Afton stood alone in the dim light of his underground facility, a place no one knew existed. Not Henry, not the police, not even his own children. A place built for one purpose, a place built for her. He wiped grease from his hands, staring at the towering metal frame in front of him. A new animatronic, a new creation, a new obsession. Circus baby. Tall, elegant, beautiful in a way only a monster could be. Her eyes were dark, unlit, but William could already imagine them glowing. Watching, learning, obeying. He stepped closer, touching her cold metal cheek. You're perfect, he whispered. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with excitement. Henry thinks he's the genius, he muttered. Henry thinks he's the visionary. But he's weak, soft, emotional. He tightened a bolt on Baby's arm, jaw clenching. He couldn't even protect his own daughter. He paused. A flicker of something crossed his face. Not guilt, not remorse, annoyance. Charlotte was unfortunate, he said quietly, but necessary. He turned to a table covered in blueprints, designs far more advanced than anything at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy. Each one more complex, more dangerous, more predatory. William smiled. These aren't for children, he whispered. These are for me. He walked to a control panel and flipped a switch. Baby's internal systems hummed to life. Faint, mechanical, hungry. William's eyes widened with delight. Yes, that's it. Wake up. He stepped back, admiring his creation. Henry builds friends, he said. I build survivors. He leaned in close to Baby's face. And you, my dear, you're gonna help me fix everything. A faint click echoed inside Baby's chest, a mechanism shifting, aligning, preparing. William's smile widened. Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals, he whispered. A new beginning. He turned off the lights and walked toward the exit, humming softly. But as he reached the door, Baby's eyes flickered. Just once, a faint, cold blue, watching him leave. I sat in my car outside Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, staring at the building through the Rain Street windshield. Something about this case felt wrong. Too wrong. Charlotte's death, Henry's suspicions, the puppet's purple tears, the spring-lock suits, the silence, and now, a new report on my desk, a new business opening, a new name, Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, owned by William Afton. I exhaled slowly. This isn't over, I whispered, not even close. The elevator door slid open with a soft chime. Cold air hit my face, sterile, metallic, artificial. Afton Robotics headquarters didn't feel like a business. It felt like a lab, a bunker, a place where things were built that shouldn't exist. I followed the receptionist down a long hallway lined with glass walls. Behind him, machines hummed. Sparks flew. Metal limbs twitched on the assembly lines. This wasn't a toy company. This was a factory for nightmares. We reached the conference room. The receptionist opened the door, and there he was, William Afton, smiling, confident, performing. Standing in front of a massive blueprint of Circus Baby, gesturing with pride like he was unraveling a masterpiece. She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can also take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream. His smile widened. The room didn't smile back. One board member cleared his throat. With all due respect, Mr. Afton, those aren't the design choices we were curious about. William's smile twitched, just slightly, like a mask slipping. And that's when I stepped inside, calm, cold, uninvited. Mr. Afton, I said, my voice cutting through the room like a blade. Are these machines safe for the public? The board members turned. William didn't. He froze for half a second, just long enough for me to see the truth. He wasn't surprised I was here. He was annoyed. Detective Destrawn, he said warmly. What a pleasant surprise. It wasn't a question, I replied. Are these machines safe? William clasped his hands behind his back. Of course they are. My designs are state-of-the-art, revolutionary, perfect. I stepped closer. Perfect machines don't kill children. The room went silent. William's smile didn't break, but his eyes did. A flicker of something dark, cold, calculating. Detective, he said softly. I had nothing to do with that tragedy. I held his gaze. I didn't say you did. He blinked, just once. A tell. But I find it interesting that weeks after a child died outside your restaurant, you opened a new business with even more advanced animatronics. William's jaw tightened. The board members shifted uncomfortably. I walked toward the blueprint of Circus Baby, studying the internal mechanisms. Sharp, complex, predatory. Why did she need this many servos in the chest cavity? William's smile thinned. For flexibility. And this mechanism? Looks like it opens inward. It's part of the design. For what? Silence. Mr. Afton, are these machines safe for children? He leaned in, whispering back. They're not for children. A chill ran down my spine. What did you say? I said they're perfectly safe. Liar. I turned to leave, but something on the blueprint caught my eye. A note scribbled in the corner. A phrase. She will never fail again. My stomach twisted. Again? I walked her out of the room, heart pounding. Behind me, William continued his pitch, voice smooth and confident. But I heard something else beneath it. Something cold, something hungry, something alive. And I knew, without a doubt, that whatever William Afton was building, it wasn't meant to entertain. It was meant to take. The stage lights were soft, warm, inviting, deceptive. Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals didn't feel like a pizzeria. It felt like a showroom. Polished floors, bright colors, smiling posters plastered over the walls that hid something rotten underneath. Children laughed, parents chatted. Music played softly from the overhead speakers, but beneath all of it, something felt wrong. I stepped into the main stage area, hands in my pockets, eyes scanning the room. And there she was, Circus Baby, tall, graceful, painted in bright reds and whites. Her eyes glowed in the soft blue as she performed a slow, elegant dance. The children watched her with awe, but one child watched her differently. A little girl with bright red hair, standing closer to the stage than anyone else, closer than she should be. Elizabeth Afton. She stared at Baby like she was looking at a goddess, like Baby was the only thing in the world that mattered. I walked over, standing beside her. Huh, I casually said. I see you're taking a liking to this here, Bambi? Elizabeth blinked, confused. It's Baby. She corrected softly. Whatever, I muttered, smirking. She giggled, just a little, then turned back to baby. Her voice lowered, almost a whisper. Daddy won't let me play with her. I raised an eyebrow. Why's that? Elizabeth's eyes stayed locked on baby. But isn't she pretty? Her tone wasn't childish excitement. It was longing, obsession, like baby wasn't a robot, but a friend she wasn't allowed to have. I crouched down beside her. You like her more than the others, huh? Elizabeth nodded. The other kids don't understand, she said. They don't see what I see. I glanced around. Other children were eating ice cream, watching the show, tugging on their parents, running around. But Elizabeth, she was still, focused, drawn, like baby wasn't calling to her. I looked back at the animatronic. Baby's eyes shifted, not toward the crowd, not toward the parents, toward Elizabeth. Just for a second, a flicker, a recognition. My stomach tightened. I stood up slowly. Elizabeth, I said carefully, you should probably step back a bit. Give her some space. She shook her head. No, she likes me. I frowned. How do you know that? Elizabeth smiled, a soft, innocent smile that made my chest ache. Because she talks to me. I froze. What? Elizabeth looked up at me, confused by my reaction. She talks to me when Daddy's not around. My heart pounded. Elizabeth, what does she say? Elizabeth turned back to baby. She says she wants to play. The lights flickered. Just once, baby's eyes glowed brighter. And for the first time since I started this case, I felt something colder than fear. I felt inevitability. I stepped back watching Elizabeth stare at baby with a devotion that didn't belong in a child. And baby stared back. Silence, still, waiting. I whispered under my breath, this isn't good. Because I knew, deep in my bones, that whatever happened next, I wouldn't be able to stop it. The crowd began to disperse. Parents gathered their kids. Lights dimmed. Music softened. Elizabeth stayed by the stage, still staring at baby like she was looking at a friend she wasn't allowed to have. I forced myself to snap back into reality. I didn't want to scare the kid. Well, take care, I said, giving her a small nod. She smiled softly. Bye, Mr. Destron. I walked toward the exit, pushing open the glass doors and stepping into the cool evening air. The sky was turning orange. Cars were pulling out of the lot. Everything looked normal, but something in my chest felt wrong. Heavy. Like I was leaving a crime scene that hadn't happened yet. I shook it off and headed to my car. I didn't know, couldn't know, that in the span of the next few minutes, a nightmare was unfolding behind me. The room was quiet now. No crowds, no parents, no noise. Just Elizabeth and baby. Elizabeth stepped closer to the stage, eyes wide with wonder. Daddy won't let me play with you, she whispered. But you want to play, don't you? Baby's eyes flickered, a soft mechanical whir, a faint hum. Elizabeth smiled. I knew it. She reached out her hand. Baby's head tilted. Her chest plate shifted just slightly, like a breath. A soft voice echoed from deep inside her frame.
Come closer.
Elizabeth froze. Her eyes widened. You can talk? Baby's voice was gentle, warm, motherly.
Come closer, Elizabeth. I have something for you.
Elizabeth stepped forward. Baby's stomach hatched open. Slow, smooth, silent. A cold metal claw extended outward. Elizabeth gasped.
It's okay.
Baby whispered.
I won't bite.
Elizabeth reached out, and baby moved. Fast, too fast. The metal claw grabbed Elizabeth's wrist, tight, and yanked her forward. Elizabeth screamed. Baby's chest cavity snapped shut. A sickening metallic crunch echoed through the empty building. Then silence. Just silence. Baby's eyes dimmed. Her voice whispered one last time.
I'm sorry. I was only meant to help. But the show must go on.
I turned the key. The engine rumbled. I stared at the building in my rearview mirror. Something felt off, like the air had shifted, like the world had just changed. But I drove away, not knowing what had just happened. not knowing what I had just missed, not knowing that another child was taking. A TV played in the background of my office as I reviewed case files. In other news, the grand opening of Circus Baby's Pizza World has apparently been cancelled due to reported gas leaks in the building. I froze. Gas leaks? The anchor continued. Sources close to the establishment questions the report, saying that strange activities around the area at night suggest something else is to blame. My stomach dropped. One local is quoted as saying, "Everything just stopped. There was so much excitement built around this place opening, and then they just stopped talking about it." I leaned forward. A tenant from across the street claims to have witnessed a large group of cars surrounding the building during the night, and large pieces of equipment being taken out under tarps. My heart pounded. A few weeks later, the building was for sale. There was no comment from the local entrepreneur who financed the venture. William Afton. I turned off the TV, sat back, and whispered, "What the heck did you do?" Because I knew, without a doubt, that this wasn't a gas leak. This was a cover-up, a pattern, a beginning, and whatever William Afton had started, it wasn't stopping. Not now. Not ever. The workshop was silent, not peaceful, not calm, silent like a grave. William stood in front of Circus Baby, staring into her eyes, eyes that were supposed to glow a soft, artificial blue. But tonight, they were green, bright, vibrant, human. William's breath caught. "No," he whispered. "No, that's not possible." He stepped closer, trembling. "Elizabeth?" Baby didn't move, didn't speak, but her eyes were unmistakable. His daughter's eyes. The realization hit him like a revelation. Elizabeth wasn't gone. She was inside. Her death, her tragic, horrifying death, wasn't a loss. It was a breakthrough, a scientific miracle, a proof of concept. William staggered backwards, laughing, a broken, manic laugh that echoed through the empty workshop. "Charlotte, Elizabeth, both of you." He wiped tears from his face. "Two children, two souls, two machines." His voice cracked with excitement. "This isn't a tragedy. This is evolution." He turned to the puppet's mask, mounted on a table for study. Purple streaks rained down his face. Charlotte's tears, Charlotte's soul. He had already seen it once. Now he had seen it again. 2 accidents, 2 possessions, 2 successes. I can recreate this. And I will. The building was dark, silent, empty, perfect. William walked through the back hallway carrying a duffel bag. He unzipped the bag. The suit stared back at him, yellow, rotting, smiling. William slipped into the suit piece by piece, the metal frame creaking around him. He looked in the mirror. Spring Bonnie looked back. "Let's begin." The first child followed him easily. A friendly mascot, a private show, a secret surprise. One by one, they followed. Susie, Gabriel, Jeremy, Fritz, and then Cassidy. 5 children, 5 victims, 5 experiments. The door closed. The screams never left the room. One by one, he placed their bodies into the animatronics. Susie into Chica, Gabriel into Freddy, Jeremy into Bonnie, Fritz into Foxy, Cassidy into Fredbear. But William didn't know one thing. Fredbear was already occupied. Eben Afton. 2 souls, 1 body, a storm waiting to happen. The puppet's eyes snapped open, not with fear, with purpose. She floated, not walked, through the hallway. She found the bodies, she found the children, and she gave them life. Not vengeance, not rage, purpose. The news hit like a bomb. 5 children reported missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And there he was, a yellow rabbit mascot leading the children away. but the footage was grainy. The court couldn't prove it. He walked free. Again. I slammed my fist on the desk. Damn it! Months passed. Fazbear's Entertainment shut down. Again. This isn't a case anymore. This is a pattern. This is a monster. The sun was too bright, too cheerful, too wrong. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza had closed only months earlier. A building rotten with tragedy, rumors, and unanswered questions. But Fazbear Entertainment didn't care. They never did. And now, in the middle of summer, a brand new sign hung over a brand new building. Grand opening, now hiring. I stood across the street, arms crossed, watching families walk inside like nothing had happened. Like 5 children hadn't vanished. Like 2 hadn't died before that. Like the place wasn't cursed. But this wasn't the same Freddy's. This was something else. Something worse. The building was bigger, and the animatronics, new. Plastic smiles stretched across their faces. Toy Bonnie, Toy Freddy, Toy Chica, and that mangled fox-looking thing. All built by Henry, all equipped with facial recognition, criminal database scanning, advanced movement tracking, and safety protocols. Henry had learned from the past. He wanted to make sure nothing like the missing children incident ever happened again. But he didn't know the truth. He didn't know the souls were still here. He didn't know the curse had followed them. He didn't know the metal had been reused. He didn't know he had just given the spirits new bodies. He didn't know he had just created the withered era. The puppet sat quietly in the corner, motionless, silent, watching. Charlotte's soul trapped inside, but she wasn't done. Not yet. The old animatronics were shoved into the back room, broken, rotting, forgotten. But not dead. Not anymore. The children's souls stirred, awakening, remembering, waiting. William walked through the building wearing a security uniform, a badge, a flashlight, and a smile. He wasn't here to protect anyone. He was here to observe. And they did. Every time he walked by, their eyes twitched, their heads turned, their smiles faltered. They recognized him. They remembered him. They hated him. Jeremy worked the night shift. 5 nights. 5 nights of toy animatronics stalking him, Mango crawling through the vents, Balloon Boy draining his flashlight, the puppet watching, the withered animatronics waking up. William slipped into the back hallway. He carried the spring Bonnie suit. He put it on, piece by piece, metal creaking, springs tightening, masks smiling. Children followed. Again. Charlotte sensed it. She tried to stop him, but she was too late. More children, more bodies, more souls, more experiments. Perfect. I turned off the TV. My hands shook, my chest tightened, my voice cracked. This isn't a case anymore. This is a war. The news played softly in the background of my office. Local security guard Jeremy Fitzgerald is in critical condition tonight. I closed my eyes. The bite of 87. Another tragedy. Another cover-up. Another failure. But this time something was different. Because someone knocked on my door. Slow, weak, unearthly. I opened it and froze. A man stood there. Pale, hollow, purple, barely alive. Michael Afton. You look like a zombie.
I feel like one. I once went down to his bunker. My sister.
Baby?
They thought I was him.
And she's free now, isn't she?
Yes, but there's only one thing left to do.
I'll do it. I've been waiting to take him down.
Then let's finish this.
Local attraction to open. Well, ain't this about a bit? My phone rings. Henry.
It's time.
Lefty. Designed for one purpose. Capture the puppet.
They'll all come. And when they do, then we end it.
The building was dark. Silent. Waiting. Baby, The puppet, Molten Freddy, Springtrap, all gathered.
Connection terminated. This is where your story ends.
Flames erupted. The building shook. The souls cried out.
Be still and give up your spirits. My daughter, let me save you.
I stood beside Henry, watching the inferno. Is it over?
Yes,
Michael walked out of the smoke.
my father is gone.
Children, freed, smiling, moving on. But one stayed behind. Cassidy. She sank downward, into darkness, into purgatory, into the nightmare. Good luck. It's done. Case closed.